Hey, Patriots, welcome back to Dee's Daily Breakdown. I'm Dee, and it is Saturday, July 18th, 2026. And I'm hopping on because I want to do a little more detail into the Lindsey Graham situation. Did a few reels this week, and obviously triggered people because they've already established in their heads that Lindsey Graham was a bad dude. And up until very recently, I thought the same thing. But with this military operation, with fifth generation warfare, and the way this military movie is playing out, you cannot take literally anything at surface value. And even people like me who have done a lot of research can still get tripped up in things and not see the 40,000 foot view. So I'm going to say that I could be wrong, right? I'm not saying I'm absolutely 100% correct about him possibly being a good guy. He could still end up being a bad guy because of his warmongering and his friendship with John McCain. But when you're looking at this whole picture of how his death happened and what's surrounding it and all the number 17s, it's you can't ignore it, is what I'm trying to say. So I was listening to a podcast the other night with two gentlemen that I have a lot of regard, a lot of respect for their knowledge about the Q operation, and it just makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to explain some of the things they said and a few little things that I think, and that's really what I wanted to share today. So, for instance, what I figured out right away was his age was 71, right? So if you do Q says think Mira, so that's the number 17, right? So that could just be nothing. That could just be a coincidence. But then with all of these things, it ends up never being a coincidence because there's so many puzzle pieces that connect, and you realize that it's just another psyop. All right, so here's some of the things they were saying. So when the EMS workers came to check on him, it was at 8:27 p.m. 8 plus 2 plus 7 equals 17. It was 71 hours after he left Ukraine when he supposedly passed away. Something else they mentioned that I think really is so important to note is that his net worth was only about $1.5 million, and that's unheard of. You know, in his realm, he could have been making a whole lot more money. Like, that's literally, it just is. So that's something to really think about. It was also mentioned that it's possible that he was being blackmailed. There were people that thought that he was homosexual. Maybe there was a connection there, possibly. And there's also possible that, or he got like freed up by the military, and he spent a lot of time with President Trump playing golf. So it's hard to know, because here's the thing: why would President Trump play golf with somebody who was evil, like really bad? Like, why would he? I mean, there is that art of war part, keep your enemies close, right? So that's a possibility. But see how this is so intense. It's total chess. Like we always say that's the 5D chess. This is psychological warfare. So we can only, with things like this, at this point in the game, before we get maybe more clarity, we can only speculate on what we think. And I'm leaning towards that it's quite possible he was actually one of the good guys. It was also mentioned that he was JAG, military. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're a good person if you're in our military. But when you look at the whole big picture, it's possible that he was a good guy. So someone was also mentioning that, it wasn't good that he did all that warmongering, and we all agree that wasn't good. But this special operations team and President Trump, the thing that separates them from us is that they have the full picture. And it just reminds me of when Mike King, he always says Comey is a good guy, and nobody wants to believe that. Now, I didn't want to believe it either. But when, that, remember in the sand when it said 86-47, when he did that supposedly against President Trump. Again, these are all psyops and staged. And it doesn't all make sense. It's not supposed to at this point. But there are a lot of puzzle pieces coming together. And This is one of those we have to wait out a little bit more. But when people tell me that they have the execution list, they have information that's so inside like that, I tell them there's no way. There's no way you know whether or not a person was executed. There are certain people that we just know. Okay, for instance, President Trump did repost a meme. Oh, I have it from last year where it said Biden was executed in 2020. Okay, under the one where he's holding a peace sign. So we know Biden was executed. Mike King also mentions John McCain definitely was executed. But who knows? Maybe their friendship, maybe John McCain and Lindsey Graham's friendship was just like for show. Like who knows? I don't know. Maybe Lindsey Graham was so close to John McCain to get a lot of juice on him. That's what I know that President Trump was. He was an FBI informant for Jeffrey Epstein. So there are so many twists and turns. But what Q said was, what makes a good movie? Good actors. And one of the guys on the podcast was saying that Q did say that people would get freed from being blackmailed. So that's why he was saying it could be connected. So, but again, this is something that I'm going to keep my eye on, and but it's not something that I can give a definite he was definitely a bad guy or he was definitely a good guy. But I'm leaning more on the good guy more and more because of the way they presented this information. And that's why, the reactionary piece, like, I'm human too, but I do it less and less. I react less and less because I realize that this is not something you can just, you cannot just quickly take it at the front end. You have to, whenever a PSYOP happens or whenever these things are happening, you have to now, what I do is I jump onto these podcasts and I listen to them break it down, make it make sense, connect the puzzle pieces, and then I'm able to come to some solid conclusions, right? There's things that I know for sure, and then there are things like this that I'm on the fence more about, and that's okay, right? Because I'm using my critical thinking, and I'm fascinated by this. I think that this is the coolest thing ever. One of the coolest things you could ever experience. And the people that don't have, it's so sad to me. The people that have no idea what's going on, they are so missing out on the excitement of this. And I more and more I'm going to say this again. I really don't have the patience for the black pillars because if you don't know what a black pillar is, those are people that they land in my inbox quite frequently, and they're sending me reels that are negative about President Trump, and they're sending me things that I know are not true, right? And they're looking for problems is what they're doing. I think we have more than enough on our plate at this point. I don't think we need to be looking for more problems. Like, they want to keep the Muslim thing up, and it's part of the narrative, okay? I'm not denying that there are not Muslims here. I'm not denying that there are not problems here. But they want people to talk about them. They want people to talk about the data centers. One of the guys was saying that data centers have been around for quite a long time. But hearing this, and all of a sudden people are all worried about data centers. Chemtrails were around a long time, and all of a sudden people were... It's because they have put those topics in the front. And I just have to try my best not to lose it and get upset because I hear... because people just keep... trying to pound me with this stuff, and what I try to do is just stay calm and just, but I tell them, like, you got to use your critical thinking. You got to think logically. This military operation is, oh my gosh, complex isn't even the word to describe this. So I hope this has helped. I wanted to just do a little summary of what I've been learning, give you a little bit of my spin on it, and I'll definitely come back on and keep you posted if I gather it, if any more information I can gather on the Lindsey Graham thing. But I know for sure it's a definite big turning point in this operation. It's huge. It's possible that that they're going to say that Israel's going to end up being, at the end of the day, possibly they were saying connected to it. Is all roads lead to Israel. Okay, so what Q said, saving Israel for last, right? But my plan for the next episode is going to be talking about President Trump's speech the other night about the election debacle, the elections debacle in America. but I want to gather some more information before I hop on and lay that out for you. So anyway, until next time. Oh, let me say this. If you've liked this episode, could you do me a favor, hit like, actually follow me. Yeah, like what I'm doing. Feel free to comment, share it, whatever you can do. I really appreciate that because it gets out to new sets of ears. You can also give me a rating here. You can also give me a rating on Apple Podcasts if you don't mind. On Apple Podcasts, you have a chance to write a review. Again, this all helps me get the word out. So, I do thank you, and until next time, this is D for Liberty. God bless you.